Hello, advanced students. This week we are going to work on going over again, finding slope and y-intercepts. And we're going to use graphs, we're going to use tables, and we are going to use equations. So I should be able to give you any one of these, and you should be able to find the slope and the y-intercept. So let's start with a review of the definitions. Slope is the slope of a line, which is usually m, is the change in y to the change in x. So when you are on a graph, you're going to use rise over run. When you are on a table, you're going to use the change in at y over the change in x. And when we have an equation, y equals mx plus b, m is the slope. So 3 different ways: graph, rise over run; table, change in y over change in x; and equation, put it into slope-intercept form, and m is your slope. Then we have the y-intercept, and for our purposes here, we don't need, not that one. Try this again. Erase everything here. There we go. For our purposes, we do not need the x-intercept. How's that? We do need the y-intercept. So it is the y-intercept of a line is where it crosses the y-axis, and it occurs when x equals 0. And this is going to be an important piece right here, when x equals 0. So our y-intercept is right here. And again, we're going to find it on a graph, which should be fairly easy. It's where it crosses the y-axis. On a table, here's where that x equals 0 piece comes in. And in an equation, we have this right here. B is our y-intercept. So as we go through these, we're going to find both the slope and the y-intercept. Let's start with graphs. And it's really easy. I want you to find the slope and I want you to find the y-intercept. So we're going to find that for all of them. Slope, y-intercept, all the way across. Slope, remember, is rise over run. So I'm going to start here. I got 1 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 backwards. So it's negative 1/5. Slope here, I go up 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2 over 6, I'm going to simplify that to 1 over 3. Slope here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 2. Can't simplify it. There's all my slopes. Now let's go back and find all the y-intercepts. Easy enough. It's where it crosses the y-axis. Sometimes we're going to have to make a guess right here. So for that one, we'll say that y-intercept is 2.5. It's where it crosses the y-axis. Here, we'll say it's 1/2. And this one, just from our graph, we're not going to be able to find it because it's not on the graph right now. Eventually, we will show, I'll show you how to do it. So for right now, we're just going to say cannot do it. Okay, then we have our vertical and our horizontal line. Remember, slope of a vertical line is undefined, and slope of a horizontal line is 0. Y-intercept. Here we have none. It does not ever cross the y-axis. Here it crosses at 0, 5, or just plain 5, either way. Try these 3. Pause the video and try these 3. Here we go. Slope will be first. Y-intercept will be second. So slope, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I got 1, 6. This should be easy. Slope of 0. Slope is undefined. We're going to have a few more practices. Here our y-intercept is just below the 3, so we'll say that it is 3.1, something close to that. Here our slope, or our y-intercept, is at 3, and here it is none. Again, try these 3, pause the video and try them, and then come back. Here we go, slope. We'll start with slope. I got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 3/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative 5/4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Negative 3/5. Y-intercept. This one's at about 1.5. This one is about 2.5. And this one is negative 1.5. Now let's use our tables. We're going to find slope. We're going to find y-intercept. Slope, remember, is the change in y over the change in x. So here I'm going up 3, x I'm going up 2, and remember you have to flip these over, so our slope here is 3/2. Y is going down by 2, x is going up by 1, so I have negative 1/2. Now, y-intercept was when x equals 0. So for our second one, right here, x is 0, so our y-intercept is 0. There it is. But for number 9 here, I don't have a 0. It's going up by 2. So if I go down by 2, it's at negative 1. 0 would be right in between. So let's go with, we're going to go down 3, which would take it because it's going up. So the next one down here would be also at negative 1. But halfway in between negative 1 and 2, if I drew a number line and I had negative 1, 0, 1, 2, and I want to find halfway, it would be right here. It would be 1/2. So it would be 0.5. 5/10, 1/2. So you're going to have to, if 0 is not on the table, you're going to have to find it. Okay, let's find slope and y-intercept from each of these. We'll do slope in red as usual and y-intercept in blue. And we got 21, 22, 23, and 24. So let's go ahead and find our slope. Change in y over change in x. So we're going to do our y first. We're going up by 8 each time. And our x is going up by 2 each time. So it'd be 8/2. Or if you just want to put 4, you can do that as well. Change in y, it's going up by 2 each time. Change in x looks like it's going up by 5 each time. So 2/5. Change in y, this one looks like it's going down 3. And this one is coming up 4. So it is negative 3/4. This one is going down by 7. And the x looks like it's coming up by 6. So it would be negative 7, 6. So there's our slope. So now let's do y-intercept. And remember, that's when x equals 0. So x equals 0, we don't have any of it. So if we went down 2, it would be at negative 1. So 0 would be right in between. Going down 8 would be negative 6. So right in between, again, I'm going to kind of draw a number line. I have negative 6, and then negative 5, negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It would be at negative 2. Halfway in between. X equals 0 would be right in between here. Would be in here. So it would be like 2.5. It would be halfway in between. But here, halfway in between would just be the 1. So here our x-intercept would be 1. Number 23, again, it would be in here someplace and not right in between. Be closer to, well, it would be right in between. Whoops, I'm in the wrong place. It would be here. Sorry about that. Not there. It would be in between here. It would be right in between there. 2 up and 2 down. And so we'd be going down 3, so down 1.5 would be 1. It would be at, I believe, so if we put it on a number line, 5, 4, 3, 2, 5, 4, it would be about 3.5. 2, 3.5, yep. 3.5 for this one. Then, number 24, 0 would be in between here. And again, we're going to have to kind of do a number line. So I got negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And 0 would be right here. So this one is going down by 7. So we're at about 2/3 or a third going this way. So if we're going up by 7, we are at negative 6, negative 5, negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, and 1. We'd be going down about 2/3 of the way. So there's 2, and then there's 2. So it would be right in between here, which would be negative 3.5. Most of the time, we're going to make these a little bit easier. Like this one, slope. Let's do slope. And let's do y-intercept. Slope is change in y over change in x. This is going up by 2. This is going up by 1. Switch it over. 2 over 1, otherwise 2. Our y-intercept is when x is 0. This one is easy. Negative 1. That's what we're going to hopefully do more often, make it a little bit easier. Then we get to the equations. The equations are nice because you guys already know what it is. Y equals mx plus b. The m is the slope. The b is the y-intercept. So here we go. Slope in red. We have 1/5. We have 6. We have negative 8/3. We have negative 1 4/10. This one, we're going to have to switch around a little bit before we do it. I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. Y equals negative 3x minus 9. So our slope is -3. This number 23, we're going to have to switch around, but we already have y by itself. We just need to switch these two things around. The sign stays in front. This would be a +4, so we would add the 4. So then our slope would be -3/5. Y-intercept is the b. This one would be 3. This one, remember to use the sign as a -7, +9, -1. We already switched this. This would be -9. This would be a +4. Those should be fairly easy. Pause the video and go ahead and try them on your own. Remember, you may have to switch a couple of them around. Okay, I'm going to go do the slopes first. This would be 4. This would be -7. This would be -4/5. This would be 2 25/100. Oop, have to switch this around. Subtract 1. So the slope would be 4/3. Switch this around. We're going to add 6. So my slope is 3/8. Switch this one around. So my slope would be -2. Have to switch these two around. Y equals a -1/2 x minus 5. So my slope is -1/2. Switch these two around. Y equals 1.5 x plus 11. So my slope is 1.5. Now that I've switched all of them around, going back and doing the y-intercept should be fairly easy. -5, 12, -2, whoops, 3, -1, +6, +3 5/10, a -5, and a +1. So now I want you to do the practice problems that are down below. And for now, that will be your homework. Have a great day. Please message me if you have any questions.